Hi, Em. Hey, Carolyn. Has everyone muted themselves?
No.
Oh, you're there. Em's there. Hi, Davika.
Hang on, how do I mute again?
Oh, that's all right. You can stay on there. That's all good. I'm just going to share the screen so we can get started. There we go. We're ready to go. All righty. I think we're ready to go. Davika, are you there? I think she's okay. That's all right. Well, welcome to the call, our wrap-up call today. So we'll go for about an hour, and I'll stay on the call if you need any specific questions answered. But just quickly, I want to go through for those of you that were on the call last week on Wednesday. So, you were on the call. So if you want to unmute yourself, so we can just check in with you. You and Davika were both on last week's call, so I'll just
Hi.
you. Hey, how are
you? Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Davika. I'm just going to quickly swap to M, and then I'll come back to you.
That's not a problem.
Okay. Sorry, M. We're good to go.
Good to go.
Good to go. Tell me, so how have you been tracking since last week?
Well, look, I'll just hang on, do this. Wait, it's exciting. Oh, damn it, I dropped it. Wait.
That's all right.
No, it's gone now. I have a social media plan. You can't hear me because I'm talking. I have a social media plan that I've just dropped, and I typed it up, and that's what I'm doing, and I'm sticking to it, and I'm already planning my topics for the next 2 weeks, and I've written up everything. So yeah, I've just had a bit of technical problem because I created another thing that I want to do every 2 weeks. So instead of just videoing my podcast, I thought I want to do something different with it because I don't want people to be listening to my podcast and hearing the same. So I thought via YouTube I can do on the couch with me, and so people send me their questions and I'll answer them.
Perfect. Okay, so that will be then different to your podcasting that you're doing. So the content will mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, so it's the same topic that I'm going to be doing for 2 weeks, but it comes in the second week that I've been running the topic, so it gives people the opportunity to think of questions, and then they can send it through and I film it and then put it out there.
Perfect. So that's good. So you've got your content plan, because you're working on the podcast, and then both those strategically funnel into the Deeper Love formula, yeah?
Yes, I started mentioning the Deeper Love formula, yes.
Okay, perfect. That's good. I'm just checking in. I'm just making sure that you're ticking all your boxes when you are, I suppose, putting the content together, but you're also looking at the plan. I'm kind of just making sure that subconsciously you're going, okay, well, that's how it's going to funnel in, kind of the process is just going to flow through. So yeah. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then the Zoom workshop, I'm still working on that because I've just got to, I've got to write the content, but also I've got to look at Zoom and how it all works and just understand it a bit more. So that'll obviously take me a little while that's not going to be next week.
Yeah.
That's obviously something that I need to really fine tune and get right before I put it out there as, a 3-part series that people can buy into. And again, all coming back to the Deeper Love formula. So that's the bigger goal.
Yeah, because if you did a 3-part series over 6 weeks or 8 weeks, a 3-part series, it could be online. So you're not, you're able to reach more people, but it's another way for them to work with you. So, I mean, yes, you've got the Deeper Love formula. However, if they came on board with this 3-part program that maybe runs in 6 weeks or 8 weeks, could they then go on to becoming a client of yours into something else, or do you only offer the Deeper Love formula? Do you know what I mean? Like you're able to expand a little bit more and kind of test what the audience is saying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I do one-on-one clients, and I also do the Deeper Love. That's big enough content for me to create right now.
Yeah. So it could be like your 3-month or your 4-month thing, you know, where you kind of go, okay, over 3 or 4 months, I'm going to, you know, map it all out and then test it out. But if you could, essentially, my suggestion would be, is if you can test it out before Christmas, then come that Christmas break where you kind of, depending on how you kind of look at how the business has been going, whether you look at it every financial year or you look at calendar year, you'll have enough to kind of gauge as to what you need to do more of and what you need to pull back on, if that makes sense, because you would have tested it and you'd have some sort of comparison between the two, you know, the online versus physical kind of thing.
Yeah, no, totally. Yep, gotcha.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm going to go through...
makes sense.
I'm going to go through a few things, but then I'm going to come back to that 80-20 thing that I was talking about last week. I'm going to jump on that bandwagon towards the end of the call, but I'm going to swap now to Davika, and then we'll go through what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Hey, Davika, how are you going from last week? So from your action task to what you did following from that, how are you tracking?
Okay, my action task. I know you emailed me something, but what I wrote down was mainly that I need to do my my meetup group, align that with my Facebook group.
Okay.
I've made that public. I've changed the name.
Yep.
I think I did that prior to the last call.
Okay.
I've done 2 articles, mentioned that to you, and yeah, they're gone. So it's really good to sort of write a couple together.
Yep.
You know, and it really saved me a lot of time, which was really, really good.
Yep.
So I've got 2 more for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm going to really sit down and brainstorm, do my map about who is a goddess, what are the qualities, what are the problems, and of course, you know, guilt is one of them for all women. So that was the topic that I started off in my conversation.
Yeah.
So I've already got 2 meetup groups, and I was just gonna change one of them to align with my Facebook group. Now, I was told that Facebook doesn't, I don't know, I probably didn't hear this right, but Facebook doesn't like them using their platform with Meetup. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing. Because last time I was at a...
So the cross promotion.
Yeah, okay. So they don't like cross promotion. All right, okay.
Well, it's not that they don't like. If you try to, because Meetup is essentially, when you look at, for those of you that are on the live call, but will be listening to the recording, Meetup is like another version of Facebook events, but in the physical aspect, if that makes sense. So to Facebook, it's a bit like YouTube videos. Facebook videos and YouTube videos, they don't like each other. Like, it's just one of those things, because Facebook wants to hold all their content to them. They are like, well, it's ours, it's ours, it's ours. So there is that little bit of a hiccup. But what I would suggest to you, Davika, is if you are going to use the Meetup platform, which is a great platform to use, because people that are really harnessing it are really doing it really, really well. And then, you know, it's kind of getting your strategy right. And, you know, I think you bought Francesca Moy's Follow Me book? Have you actually bought the book?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Yes. So in the book, I'm aware that her strategies are really, really good. Like, there are some great strategies that you can execute. So what I would suggest to you is, don't tweak those strategies, just execute it as it is, because she's obviously got, you know, a 6-figure business just doing Meetup. So my suggestion to you is, if she says do it this way, just follow that. Don't question it, don't tweak it, don't mix it up. Just go from start to finish on her strategy, which is in the book. The thing I was going to say to you, though, which I don't know whether she covers, because I've not personally read her book, but if you are going to run a Meetup that you want to kind of have it aligned to your Facebook group, then my suggestion is your Facebook group name needs to be your Meetup group, because then what you can do is you can create events in your Facebook group that is actually your meetup event. So they kind of bounce off each other. Does that make sense? So if you have, you know, I don't know, the Authentic Goddess or something as your Facebook group, and then you have the Authentic Goddess as your meetup platform, then you create an event. Let's say you create an event for the 20th of June. So you create an event on Meetup for the 20th of June, and you create an event inside your Facebook group for the 20th of June. But both these events are the one thing, but you're able to feed two audiences to the one physical location. Does that make sense? So you're not reworking it twice, but also to people that are then following you on Meetup, they can see what's happening on the Facebook group, because on Meetup you can say you can join the closed Facebook group as a part of that. Does that make sense? So you're kind of leveraging both together as opposed to separately, and then you're working only one thing. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what I was, go ahead.
Yeah, because you don't want to, because I'm always thinking you get what you're doing, but if I was the outsider and I was somebody that was currently not fully into the personal development space, still kind of finding my feet, from a branding perspective, yes, there's the Vika, and yes, she's the relationship goddess. So then you want to tie that in consistently with the name tags across both. Does that make sense? So if she sees you, let's say at a networking event, and you say, oh, I do the goddess nights and I run whatever you call the meetup, then she goes onto your Facebook group and she's on Meetup, it's all the same thing. So from a branding thing, the Vika is that, but then the representation of you is clear and consistent across Facebook and Meetup. Does that make sense? I just want you to be consistent across both platforms.
Yes, no, you're right, because that's what I haven't been doing.
Yep.
And now that I'm very clear with my niche,
yep.
That's why I've changed my Facebook group, and I'm talking about what it is called, what it's about.
Yep.
And now I want my meetup to be the same name, and obviously link the two together so that there's consistency, there's clarity. And my target market is really sure, and they're getting me of connecting with me from two different places. As you said last time, we need 12 to 12 touch points, 7 to 12 touch points on social media and marketing campaigns for people to really be comfortable with who we are and what we're doing. So, yeah, I think that's feeling very comfortable and doable, and exciting for me. So that's good. And now my content is really falling into place.
Yep.
As much as, relationship with your partner is a big thing, but I think, as I said, there's a lot of fear, a lot of resistance, and I'm now going back to my original passion, is that really women believing in themselves, and believing that they're worthy, and learning some mindset, some skills, so that they can be able to stand up, basically stand up and face the challenges, and not stand up to be a threat to the partner, but be able to communicate more effectively and create what they want in their life generally, and in their relationship.
Yeah, definitely. So quick question to you. With your book, now that it's out, the marketing campaign on Amazon Kindle is all done. Do you have an ebook version of your chapter currently that has been given to you that is like properly laid out? Like, do you have that currently as a resource for you to leverage, or you don't at this stage?
No, we don't have it at this stage.
Okay. Is that something that you are going to be getting as a part of your package that you can harness, or is Nella holding the rights to it till the end of the year? What's the story with that?
I can't remember whether she said in the contract that she'll try her best to give us a Kindle version, or that she was trying to give us an ebook. But then halfway or somewhere along the way, she said, look, I may not be able to do that. Now, I'm not sure which one.
Okay, cool.
But she did say that she'd support me if I did a book launch sometime. And I'm just thinking now, and I was going to ask you this question. Sorry that I'm asking you right now.
No, that's
Being
okay.
just a co-author, I know that there are a few friends who are really interested. Being a co-author,
Yeah.
it's not just my book. I'm just one of 22 women.
Yeah.
And it would have been really good if she had got other women together on the same day,
Yeah.
and everybody would have benefited. But I'm now believing that I will be doing this on my own. So I'll talk to you about that later on anyway.
Yeah.
How do I do that, and what's the best way to leverage? Because I mean, people, if they don't know what a co-author is, they think that I've written a whole book.
Yeah. I think the only reason I brought that up is because I know Carolyn writes, she's done quite a few co-authoring in this.
Oh, that's right.
She's done Book of Inspiration. She's got another one. Absolutely. And then she's a part of She Leads as well. But I'm just consciously aware that, you want to harness that while it's currently hot. It's a bit like, when the cake comes out of the oven, you've got that small window to really plug it, push it, and capitalize on it. So what I'm getting at, especially for Carolyn and you, given that you're both on the live call, is while it's hot, what can you do to leverage that status? Carolyn has got her own book, and then she's got these other publications. But also for you, Devika, if you can get your hands on the ebook, can you give that as a lead magnet to people that might be registering to the meetup event, or people that might be coming to the Goddess Night? How can you give them more value? Because the ebook is not costing you anything. It's just probably costing you 1 hour of your time for you to get it all up and running into a landing page. So how can you harness that so that you can generate leads? Because the whole point of this thing is, whether this is on social media or not, I want you to be generating leads, because that was the whole point of this challenge. So you need to have multiple strategies. And I don't know whether I mentioned this on last week's call, on the first call. It's a bit like having 3 or 4 or 5 cars in your garage, and you're picking the right car for the right function, or for the right day trip, or the excursion, or whatever it is that you're doing. So you kind of need to have multiple strategies that all lead into the one thing. So it's like having a garage that can park 5 cars or 3 cars and 2 boats, and then you're figuring out which one you're going to take, what day, where am I going, kind of thing. That's like the best example I can give you, as opposed to just having one and going, wherever I go, I just use my white car. Well, no, because it's not really going to work if you're trying to go up to the mountains or off-road. That white car is probably not going to be the right car, whereas you probably need a 4-wheel drive. Do you know what I mean? So the same thing applies. That same example kind of thing applies to your marketing, whether that's on Facebook, Meetup, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you're doing, Snapchat. What's the strategy? Yes, it's all going to feed into the one place, but how are you going to kind of bring it all together and position it a little bit differently? So but look, I'll talk to you about the book launch thing outside of this phase, but for Carolyn's sake and yours, I think it's really important to make sure you check in and see what you can do to harness that and leverage that, because I know with the She Leads, I'm giving the authors the PDF, and then they can do whatever it is that they want to do. I'm just holding off it just so that the book can launch and we can sell some copies. But after that, go right ahead, do whatever you want to do. Mix it up, make it into a little online webinar, make it into a Zoom workshop. I don't know, whatever you want, you kind of make it into that, but just leverage off that, because you've made an investment. You spent all this time, you kind of want to wheel it back in,
Yeah, absolutely.
So all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna now given Carolyn was not on the call last week, let's swap. Carolyn, if you want to unmute yourself, let's check in with you. Hello.
Hi.
Tell me, did you have a chance to watch any of the recordings? Okay.
Yeah, I watched them all. Yep.
Okay, cool. Did you have any specific questions for me that I can give you an answer like right now?
No, I think they were pretty straightforward. I mean, as you know, my biggest problem's time. So, they're all straightforward.
Okay, cool. All right, that's all right then. Perfect. So then what I'm going to get into is we don't have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 5. From last week's call, 5 of you are not on this call, but that's okay. What I'm going to go through is I think I'm going to jump straight into Oh, there we go. I don't know what happened there. So we've checked in on how you're tracking, and what I want the three of you that you're on the live call and those of you that will be listening to this later is to remember with all your strategies, you kind of need to check in, review and tweak on the 3-month mark. So the reason I say 3 months is because generally with a social media marketing campaign, you will launch sort of with a 4 to 5.5 week lead in. So if you are trying to do something in 5 weeks, then you kind of launch, 5 weeks in. But the planning starts, another 4 or 5 weeks in advance, give or take, or maybe a little bit longer, up to 6 weeks. So give or take, for you to execute something in, say, September, you will be starting at the end of July. So at the end of September, then you need to reassess and go, did it work? Did it not? If it worked, great. I can just hit the repeat process. But if it didn't, what needs to change? How can you do it better? What was the feedback? All these things. So my suggestion is, even if you have currently 2 or 3 campaigns that you're planning on rolling out over the next 6 months, given that we are essentially, we are not at the end of the June, at the end of June, but we are coming to the end of June. So essentially all your campaigns, I'm assuming, that are going to launch will sort of launch from 1 July, take you right through into the new financial year. And you might have 3 campaigns, you might have 5 between July and December, depending on, again, assessing, is your business, does your business service clients over the Christmas break? If you don't, then you probably only have 5 months of full on trading, because I know I pull back completely for about 6 weeks over the Christmas New Year break, and for some of you that might be the case. So it's working out, okay, how many campaigns can I run, and what am I reassessing, and what am I going to tweak on the 3-month mark? So if you are going to be doing live events and online, then you kind of need to balance out how your campaigns are going to work in terms of the audience. Because if you're targeting the audience for online, but also for physical, you kind of need to work out where they're going to respond to the most, because I've tested that out. Probably, I think at the end of last year, where I was kind of trying to do more of these Zoom sessions because they are just better. I get to sit in my comfort, and people that attend get to sit in their comfort zone. So there's no traveling, there's no time factor taken in apart from the participation. So this year it has been very much Zoom driven. And it's one of those things where I think I personally have tested Zoom as not a high ticket item. It's a low ticket item or a free entry. So in terms of financial return on investment, it is very low, but it gives me back time, and it also gives me to test the audience, so I can essentially pull back as of next year doing a lot of my online face-to-face workshops. So next year's plan, where I'm kind of reassessing 6 months into the, I'm going, well, I'll only do my 2-day intensives for next year at this stage because they're working, but I think I'm just going to pull back on the others because I don't really need to. I can just run them through Zoom, and I could do 3 Zoom workshops in a week. Whereas if I was to physically do a workshop, I physically couldn't facilitate 3 workshops in a week. It's quite a lot. When I'm facilitating it, whereas I could be a guest speaker twice in a week and then run, and that's kind of at capacity. So, really looking at what the model is and where you can structure it a bit better. So if you are considering Zoom or Skype or webinars, I would say give yourself a good 6 months to test it out, bearing in mind the only hitch with online is people that register don't always show up. So there's a very low show up rate in comparison to a live thing, because most things are recorded. So it's like, well, whether I go or not, it doesn't really matter. I get a recording. So you kind of need to work out how that's going to be if you're going to be doing a lot of the Zoom ones, or you kind of do one and then you go, well, you can watch the replay, or you can buy the replay with the workbook or something like that. So something for you guys to consider, for those of you that are on the online space of coaching, consulting, delivering services online. So then what I wanted to talk to you guys today was around leverage for freedom. So the 80-20. Now, last week I kind of got onto it, and then I realized I didn't want to go too much into it. But given that there's only 3 of you on the call and the rest of you are going to be listening to this live, I'm going to go through this 80-20 rule now. So how much time? Oh, good. We've got about a half an hour to 35 minutes, which is great. So if you were to Google this, you actually can find it on Google, this 80-20 rule. So I've not made it up. I haven't invented anything. It's been there for, lots, well over 50-60 years, that you can just pick it up off Google. But what I have been doing with my clients that I see on site, so these are my clients that might be like financial planners, real estate agents, where I sit with them on site. We look at how their social media marketing, they are doing 20% work, so 20% strategy, execution, effort, time, to give them 80% results. So that's where this principle comes into place. As I said, you can find this on Google. I'm just using that to give you context around your marketing, to give you back time and to give you more money in your bank account, if that makes sense. So that's essentially what I'm trying to get at through this call. So what I suggest you do, for those of you that are creative, I guess you could do this in a flow chart way. For those of you that are more, that love Excel spreadsheets, I will be sending you an Excel spreadsheet at the end of this call. So whether you're on the live call or you're listening to the recording, you will get this Excel spreadsheet. It's nothing flash, it's not branded, it's just an Excel spreadsheet, but I've broken it into a few categories and I've given you examples. So very short, I think there's 3 examples on there, and then you'll have to formulate it to suit your business services. So now this wouldn't work so much if it's product based. It's very much time for results. This 80-20 that I personally use, because my ideal client is somebody in the service industry, not selling products. So it's used on that, and I have a lot of experience in that. So I'm going to give you the examples of how you can translate that into an Excel, and then you can fill it as you go along. If you get stuck, let me know on the group. So on the closed Facebook group, which is the 14-day marketing challenge, let me know there, because if you are stuck, there's probably somebody else stuck as well. So I'm not going to upload the actual file there just because I don't want to do that. I want to actually send it to you this way. So I'm going to do that. Now, how it works, for those of you that are on the live call, and if you've got any questions, just unmute yourself and just jump in, is you want to have, at a bare minimum, 3 lead generation strategies for your online. So when I say 3 online, I'm talking either Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever you've got going online. You need to have 3 online, and then you might have 1 or 2 offline. Now, when I say offline, I'm talking your networking events where you are the speaker and you strategically, do your thing and you have your lead generation process happening behind the scenes. With quite a few of you, we've had this conversation of how you position yourself strategically in networking events, so I'm not going to go over that. Another thing might be is at networking events, if you kind of go, because I've had again this conversation with some of you where you go, oh look, I don't think my target audience was there. Okay, if your target audience was not there, you have 2 things. Is there somebody in that audience that can connect you to somebody that would open the door to either get you a speaking gig or put you in front of somebody that can, help you step up into a new audience or into another arena kind of thing. So for example, what I'm saying to you is like, I'd go to a networking and I'd be like, okay, not my ideal target audience, but let's say I meet someone there that says, oh, we'd love for you to talk at this place. And they're all about having these startups or small businesses come in and facilitate workshops. Okay, tell me a little bit more about that. So I kind of go, okay, not my kind of arena here, but they've got a connection, and then I'm going to harness that. So I'm going to follow that up pretty quickly because I want to lock that and load it in. So that's one thing. The other thing is, I think I mentioned this on the first call. I can't remember now. Joint ventures. So finding someone that is either a really good networker. So you kind of need to work out in this joint venture thing or / collaborations, you kind of need to be consciously aware of your strengths and your weaknesses. Okay, now I am very aware of my weaknesses from a very technical space because I move very fast. So if I'm to do a joint venture with someone, they have to move at a rapid rate. If not, I'm bored and I get frustrated and I'm out. So you kind of, before you go into a joint venture, work out what is it that you want out of it in terms of that person's personality, the way they deliver things needs to be on par. It's not always a case of, oh, well, we both service the same audience, so it's going to be okay, because it won't work if your personalities clash or you're not completely in sync on a personal level, because it's just not going to work. I have been there, done that, and it has been a complete flop. Like I've had two last year and one the year before that it just didn't work, and like I was losing sleep on it because it was just not working for me. So before you do the joint venture or you even consider approaching someone, work out your strengths, your weaknesses, and they need to either complement your weakness or be able to bring someone in from their side or your side to really fix that weakness. So you're not trying to learn a skill or upskill while you're trying to do a joint venture, because it doesn't work. I've tried that. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked for me. It hasn't worked for people that I know, where you're trying to upskill just because you so badly want to get this going. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we don't really pursue something that we don't really want to. So I wouldn't recommend, you know, you trying to do that for a joint venture. Now, then if you are exploring a joint venture, you either want to be in the position where you are both on the same page in terms of where you're at the business, or one of you has a little bit more experience, but you don't have a big network. So you bounce off the other person's network, because let's say they're a really good networker, but you have more experience in the industry, but you're not a big networker. So you might harness the power of going, well, I've got the resources, I can do the delivery, but they're the really good networker. They can fill the online workshop, or they can fill the actual room. So you kind of need to work out where it is, because if you are both, again, on the same page there, as much as it aligns personally, again, feeding that joint venture, you kind of need to have two different skill sets. So personal wise, you kind of need to align, but skill set wise, you need to have different strengths and weaknesses so it complements it. So be aware of that, as I said, because it has just not worked in certain things. Whereas this year, I have been able to say no to things before the conversation went too far, because I knew from a personal aspect, it just wouldn't work for me. So that would be my recommendation. So online, you've got a bare minimum 3 strategies, and then offline, you've got 2. So that could be a joint venture, a cross promotion, and then the other one could be your networking, where you're getting speaking gigs, or, you know, you're actively networking. For those of you in the networking space, I would say you should be at a bare minimum networking 2 to 3 times a month, but just not in the same area, because if you are kind of in the same area, you're going to really keep seeing the same people. So you're not really going to get in front of, you know, a new target audience, which you should be. Every 6 weeks, you should be bumping into somebody that you don't know, 1 or 2 people that you don't know, so you can keep building new relationships. Because once you get to a certain level, let's say you've seen the same person 4 or 5 times, you know, they're not in that getting to know stage, because now you've moved past that. You kind of know them, so you kind of want to move on to that next, where you invest more time into building more relationships. And these, you just keep nurturing them, but you're not putting a lot of effort, because you've built that, you've done that. So you kind of want to keep that cycle in flow kind of thing. Okay. Now, on your online, and this is where I suppose the majority of this 80-20 rule works. So if your business, which nearly every, I'm just looking at my list, nearly every single one of you is in the service-based industry. So every single one of you really should be looking at this 80-20 rule. So 20% time, resource, effort, meaning, as I said before, you need to be doing, let's say you prep for 2 hours. You put some content together, you put a landing page together, you put a handout together for a workshop. 2 hours of your time, which needs to fuel into 8 hours of client purchases. So if you have an hourly rate, for example, and you would normally see 8 or 10 clients, you kind of go, I do, 2 hours worth of work, and that feeds 8 hours of incoming clients, or whatever it is that you're doing, or a workshop, which is X amount of dollars. Because currently what a lot of people are doing is, okay, I'll prep for 2 hours, then I'll deliver for 2 hours. I'll prep for 2 hours, I'll deliver for 2 hours. You're working on a 50-50. You're never going to get that, free time to pull back on and leverage. So what I'm suggesting you look at, and that Excel spreadsheet will make actually a lot more sense, is for those of you, especially that are doing coaching, work out what the hourly rate is of your coaching per hour and how can you pull back to give more. And the way to pull back is that whole one-to-many, because the one-on-one, your time is going to run out. It is going to be capped. Yes, you can keep increasing your prices, but essentially there's only so many hours of coaching you can do in a 24-hour period, because that's just a fact. So if you were to follow the 80-20 rule, what you would essentially do, this is just hypothetical, I've not taken into account anyone's business model here, is how can I put together, for example, this presentation that would take me, give or take 15 minutes at the most, and deliver it over an hour, but then use the same process over and over again. So this challenge is running, for example, this month. I can repeat this in July, August, September, October, November, December, do the same process, but I don't have to do anything beyond this because now it's all done. So my 15 into 3, which is 45 minutes prep, a little bit of Zoom time to get, the links happening, posting on Facebook, let's say another 45 minutes. So to really pull this whole thing off, it's taken me an hour and a half for the whole time, for a whole 3 weeks. Okay, to pull off this effort, time, resource. And then now I've got the templates going, in terms of the email, that's a physical thing. Great. But what I'm saying is it's 20% for me to deliver something for an hour, hour and a half. Now, I know this is obviously not a paid thing. This challenge is free and that's all good. But what I'm saying to you is, in context, for those of you that are going to do something online, how can you work only 20% and feed 80%, giving you back time, giving you back results, and putting money back into your pocket? So you kind of want to think about that moving forward. So you're working 20 to make 80. You're prepping for 20 to deliver 80, whatever it is that you're doing, as opposed to the 50-50 game. Look, with some things, it will be a 50-50 for probably another year. But if you are in the coaching space and the consulting space, then it's time you really, really look at the 80-20, because the 80-20 will give you back time. Any questions so far? Everyone's quiet. Okay, cool. So what I would suggest for each of you to do here now is, if you, which I'm guessing every one of you have a piece of paper, start writing what your main services are. So let's say with Carolyn, let's start with Carolyn. Carolyn probably write a 1-hour kinesiology session. Then there could be other things that you might be having in there, Carolyn, that you're doing. So I would suggest you make a list of 3 bullet points of your top 3 things that you're currently offering in terms of service space. If you don't have 3, then write the 1 or 2, but ideally I'd want you to have 2 so you can compare. The reason I'm saying for you to compare is I want you to do this little exercise where you write, okay, in a day, can we use your business as an example, Carolyn, for the little bit that I know? Okay, cool. So let's say Carolyn, okay, cool. So Carolyn, I know, works where she sees people on a Wednesday and a Friday, which is her day off, where she works on the business, or well, on the business and in the business on those 2 days. So really, if she was to start her day at 9 and to finish her day at 3, she can only potentially see 6 clients between 9 and 3. And that means that she doesn't get a toilet break, she doesn't get a lunch break, because she's going 1-hour sessions back to back. So that's 6 sessions there. Then she might have, let's say, a 2-hour break, and she might do 2 sessions in the evening. So that's 8 sessions in a day. 8 into 2, because she can do that on Wednesday and Friday. That's 16 sessions. Great. So then it would mean 16 into whatever her hourly rate is. So it's capped. I mean, of course, at the end of the session, Carolyn will probably upsell you to some product, maybe something else. Or she could have a workshop that runs from 9 to 2 at maybe 3 times the price of that, and she does that once a month. So she'll still do her 16-hour, sessions in that week, but then 1 week, that end of the month, it's always locked in for let's say the meditation and whatever the class is, or like a retreat thing, or whatever she's got going. So which means when you compare financially in terms of time and effort, it's almost clear, depending on how you price it. It comes down to price. Karen will say, okay, well, in a week, I can earn X amount of dollars. Okay, so into 3 is X amount. But on that last week, I don't work the Friday. I only work a Wednesday and I run a workshop. And if I have 5 people, that brings in X amount. And that X amount is way higher than the 3 weeks of sessions. So then what I'm getting you to think of is, okay, for now this is working, but if you were to do this long term, if you wanted more time, then wouldn't it make sense for you to say the consulting is only available, or client one-on-one sessions are only available in the first and the third week of the month. Every alternating week we have this and this, because those are her best options to give her back time. So this is not about you going, oh, how can I serve the audience better? This is how you are modeling your business better so you get back time. This 80-20 is not about the client. It's actually about you and your business model, from a marketing, but also from a financial perspective. And this is where I go, okay, if you've got 5 strategies, yes, you still do what you do, but how can that fuel a different way? Because then if Karen goes, okay, well, on the second week, I need to have 5 people at the group 1, and at the last month, I need 5, and it has this, this, and this. Great. And the ticket point is that. Well, her 5 covers more than what she would get in those 16 sessions. So doesn't it make sense for her to just do the 4-hour session and then go, well, I've got the Friday off. So essentially in a week now, in a month, she's got 2 Fridays off, because she only consults week 1 and week 3, and then week 2 and week 4, it's only a Wednesday. So it's a model thing. But to do that model, you need to work out where your clients are feeding into, what the price point is, and where the gap is. That is the only way you'll be able to apply the 80-20 rule. So swapping from Carolyn to M, I mean, I know a little bit about your model, M, but not too much. And so you can kind of guide me from going, off topic here. But, you do some prepping. You'd obviously have your workbooks. You'd have all that down. So you go, okay, I can deliver this workshop once a month or once in every 2 months. You've got your coaching clients. So your coaching clients obviously fit into a certain schedule. I'm guessing either between, let's say, 9 and 5 or 9 and 12 or whatever schedule you've got. So again, it's capped at how many coaching clients you can have. However, if you were to go, okay, you can do the workshop, and as a part of this online training, you get two sessions in a month of that, then you have now 3 things happening. You've got the Deeper Love formula, you've got this low ticket item, and then you've got your one-on-one coaching, which is the middle, because depending on how your pricing, I don't know which one is more. Is your coaching more expensive or your Deeper Love formula more expensive?
Deeper Love formula.
Okay, so your Deeper Love formula is your high ticket item.
Oh, Deeper.
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Em.
Yes, yep.
Okay, so
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So your coaching clients.
Okay, got it.
Just so I understand. So your coaching clients, when they come on board, are they for 3 months, 6 months? What's the coaching program like?
Well, I have moved away from that, but in listening today, I think I'll be moving, because I've got 2 coaching programs just sitting there that I can deliver, and they are over 12 weeks, so 3 months.
Okay, so perfect. So you've got that there. You kind of need to roll it out. So if you've got that, then could you, if that's sort of your middle, let's just hypothetically work this model. So let's say you had your Zoom as your
sorry. Can I, Sam?
Yep.
Sorry. Then my coaching programs, my one-on-one, are more expensive than my Deeper Love. Sorry, I've got you now.
Okay. So then at the end of the Deeper Love formula, is that where you upsell them into working with you one-on-one?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you not hear me? Yes.
Yeah, there's
Sorry.
a bit of I think a gap between you replying and me hearing you. Okay, that's okay. And it's still 12 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. So, and the Deeper Love formula is 2 days. Is that correct? 2 full days.
Yes. Yep. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so then which one would generate you the most amount of money? Because I know the Deeper Love formula you only want to do every 2 months. Is that correct?
Yes, for now, just for health reasons. But I actually believe once I'm on top of my health stuff that I'll be able to deliver it on a monthly basis.
Okay, so for now, between let's say July and December, if we take out even December, let's say 5 months, you could potentially do the Deeper Love formula twice in that 5-month period, give or take.
Yes.
What I want you
Yes.
to work out though, Em, is if you were to have X amount of people into the Deeper Love formula versus X amount of coaching clients, which one works better for you financially in terms of a time factor? So this is not about, I really need you guys to remember, this is not about the client. This is about your model in terms of how the model works for you in giving you back time. Because this 80-20 rule in marketing and in the business model is purely to give you back time. So which one would give you more time? I'm just assuming the Deeper Love formula would be the one, because you only have to do that. Like it's done and then you kind of deliver it because you just facilitate it. Whereas the coaching, you have to be present to that.
Yes.
So you kind of can't just show up. It's like, here, I can't hit autoplay to this. I actually have to deliver this. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking you
Yes.
need to work out how many coaching clients you need versus how many attendees or participants would be better on the Deeper Love formula, and then work your numbers backwards from there and then fuel that as your 80-20. So you put in more effort to feed into the Deeper Love formula versus your coaching, because your coaching's great, but it's not giving you time back. It's taking your time away from your family, from whatever else that you want to do.
So, Sam, I can already answer you that I did crunch the numbers. Well, I didn't do it because I'm really crap at numbers. Yeah. However, I had a friend who is amazing at numbers, works in a very different field, but amazing at numbers, and crunched them. And that's why my focus is now on the Deeper Love formula. But it's given me an idea that I could actually, in fact, roll out my other coaching programs can be designed as online, so that I don't have to physically do anything, because there's lots of questionnaires and there's lots of stuff in there.
Yep.
So if I can turn that into a program where they'll get the worksheets, they'll get everything in between it, they've got to do the homework, and then they just tap into the video that's about it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So then do that, because then that runs.
Yeah. So I could just. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So I just have to, yes. Okay. Oh, that's a great idea. I love it. And then, And then I could just add a couple of Zoom sessions in there as well while it's over the 12 weeks. So they've got access to me one-on-one a couple of times, but via Zoom.
Yeah, via Zoom. And that way, if they don't show up, you can go in, record it, and then it could just play back, a bit like for those that have registered, because I think there was 7 that registered for today, but there's only to be a few on the call. So the other 4 are just going to hear the recording. So Zoom is a really, really good way. And lately I've been running a lot of Zoom workshops. As I said, I like to be transparent. Your Zoom ticket point is very different to your live ticket point. Like, it's completely different, on how it works. However, it gives you back time, and you're able to leverage that and then resell that into other little packages, package it up differently, like, where you clean it up a little bit and then you package it up with, you've got this resource, you've got this resource, you've got this, and it's running on autopilot to your audience, giving you back time. Yeah. Okay. So then moving across just onto Devika, so I can give you some context, Devika, is with your Goddess Night, now that you've got the book, I'm wondering whether you need to really look at exploring using the techniques. I mean, I've not read, I downloaded the book, but I've not read the book yet, Devika. So yeah, I don't really know what context is in there, but could you potentially take your chapter and dissect that into either like you know, a 1 hour Zoom thing, or could you break that into maybe a 2 or a 3-part meetup conversation thing and leverage that, so that then people that come to the meetup, let's say they're coming for free or they're coming for $10 or $15, whatever the model is on Meetup, you do these different talks, and you maybe, you know, if you've got a few other Melbourne authors, you know, you kind of bounce off each other and you do this 3-part series around this book or your chapter, and then you feed that audience into your funnel that takes them through to the goddess night, because that's your main lead in, and from there then on to whatever else upsells. Because I think at this stage, you really need to harness the power of this book, because Nella's got a massive social media. You know, she's just hammering it on social media. So you kind of want to jump on the bandwagon. For any of you that are doing a JV with someone where they're just constantly posting about it on Facebook, just jump on the bandwagon, because their following is then going to see you and tag you in things, and your name's going to keep showing up. So you kind of want to leverage that, because that means you have to do less work, because you're automatically piggybacking on their following or their marketing, the work that they're doing. You're kind of piggybacking on that. So it's like, okay, well, that gives you back time, which means they do that and you go along with it. And then when they stop, you have now time, because you got back time. Now you can do your thing and then tag them on it. So you're not both tagging each other at the same time. You kind of strategically, this week you're doing that, next week I'm doing this. So you kind of strategically move it across. So you're both doing sufficient work, but not at the same time. So then all of a sudden the campaign kind of goes, oh yeah, it's all done. No, you kind of want to keep that running for about 4 to 5 weeks strategically online while it builds up momentum. So you want to do that. So Devika, my suggestion to you would be, looking at the notes that I took, is I think you really need to explore the meetup and harnessing that strategically to bounce off the fact that you have got this author status, and look at whether you can create another low ticket. Because I know your Goddess Night, I mean, it's right on a really good price point, but could you create something a little bit at a lower price point? I'm thinking around either the 49 or the 59 that has maybe the chapter. And that's why I asked you whether you had access to the chapter of the book. It's like, was it last year, at the end of last year, when I got back from California after I did the journal and that book, I packaged the journal and the book, and I ran an event for, I think it was $79, and the $79 or $89 for this 2 or 3 hour event. And everyone that came along got a copy of the book from America, plus they got the journal. So, you know, it was not a high ticket item, but the upsell from there was all profit, because it was, you know, coaching, consulting from there. So what I'm suggesting to you is, could you harness the book there a little bit and then leverage that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I was thinking about my Goddess Night, as much as it's really packed with value. I mean, you get a 5-course meal plus over 2 hours of coaching. I think $97 is high price.
Yeah.
And to get women into the door, I was actually thinking that I need to have something that is at a low price point of $47.
Yeah.
That women come in and have a taste of it. And definitely I can use my chapter. I mean, I started looking at that even before the book was launched, and I thought, oh wow, I'm actually back to where I started. So I couldn't believe that the chapter that I wrote is actually in alignment with what I've been trying to, and I've mentioned that in the chapter, that I've made a 360-degree turn and come back to where I was in the beginning. So it's just, the information's there, the value's there. It's just now I've got to start. So that's a good point. I've got to start using the book, and of course use Nella to create a low price point. So will it be a workshop? Will it be, well, meetup is definitely what I want to go with.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't do a workshop at that price point, to be quite honest, because that means you have to put, again, then you are not really sticking to the 80-20 rule, Davika. If you do a workshop, that means there's resource, there's a lot of physical work that you have to do. I would do it more sort of as a meetup thing where you use the book as a reference to inspire and educate and give them enough of, the little slight, like, for example, let's say you're doing a 1 hour, maybe a half an hour talk in the 2 hour meetup around, helping them unleash the goddess within or something, and you just throw it in there. This is what we were talking about last week as well, where, you just say, and this is why my clients love the goddess night, because we do this, this, and this, and through the goddess night, you achieve that, and that. So you're constantly mentioning the goddess night. So then at the end, if you say to them, for those of you that would love to explore, working together and unleashing this, I'd love to fill you in about the goddess night, just ask me. But because they've already heard this so many times, to them it's like the norm. It can take them by surprise that you've got this event called the goddess night, or the goddess retreat, or whatever that you might expand it to be, because that is giving you back time. Now, I remember we spoke about this a few months ago. Are you still doing the goddess night at home, or are you thinking you want to move it into a restaurant so it's a little bit more cost effective for you to give them like a meal and you make profit, as opposed to you working tirelessly to get the meals out, the serving, the dishing, the cleaning after that? Like, where are you at with that in terms of price point and really structuring that strategically?
Yeah, I've got on schedule on 23rd of June, and that is at home. Sorry,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I was thinking at my hubby's restaurant, and I thought, okay, well, I've got to really find out how much they're gonna, charge me, because again, that is more of a high-end service. Although it's a lot of work for me on the day, I think doing it at home is more profitable. That's what I feel, and also I can manage the time. I mean, in 1 hour, the ladies can sit down and eat. And I'm thinking, if it's at the restaurant, if I start at 6 o'clock, then I've got to let them know we're going to finish within an hour and a half, so that we can go to the back room and have the 2 hours of session. So really, I haven't looked at the timing. Timing is very critical.
Yeah.
Somebody said last night it's really nice to come to your home.
Yeah.
It's more cozy. It's more warm and welcoming.
Yeah.
So as I said, it's the whole day of work cooking is going to be very tiring. A lot of preparation on the day. So I'll think about that. But I'm still doing it at home.
Okay, cool.
I know that there's a bit of an issue when I put my event out or publish it to people in the area, because then I don't know the people who are coming through my door. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a bit of a security issue there that I really don't know whether people who are signing up to come are really, women and not somebody else, creepy, wanting to come.
Yeah, look, I know quite a few people that run events at home. Like, I know quite a few, and they just say address on, once you purchase the ticket, we'll send you the address. I think the only thing I'm thinking is, yes, it is at your home, and, they spend quite a bit of time. I think my thing around that is I'm wondering whether you are spending far too much time in delivering that, because if they're coming to your home, I'm assuming you would spend some time cleaning your home. Then you've got to prep, then you've got to... I mean, look, when you cook for your family, you're still going to clean your house, and, you're going to clean the kitchen and all of that. I get that. But in context of this is work, you're working, I suppose, double handling, as opposed to if you went to a restaurant and you said to them, can you do a meal, a beautiful vegetarian Indian meal for $45 per head that includes a glass of wine, and you were charging $97, then let's say you make $45 into X amount of participants. That way you just have to do your delivery talk for, let's say, 45 minutes or an hour, whatever handouts you give, and you get to kick back. You don't have to think about, okay, I've got to sweep and clean before, I've got to vacuum and mop after. Do you know what I'm saying? I know that you're still going to do that in your household. I get that. But from a business perspective, you wouldn't do that in delivery in the other context. Does that make sense? I'm just consciously aware that maybe you are not taking into the equation how many hours you're spending before and after.
Yeah, I think, Samantha, you are right, because when I think of the Goddess Night, I think I got a bit of a stress mode, thinking that it's going to be a whole day affair.
Yeah.
And this month I've got my cousin coming on the Thursday night. I'm thinking, oh, we decided to go and meet him for dinner on Thursday.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm going to do the shopping, because I'm the pharmacy all day, and if I've got them on Friday night, then I've got cooking up when I'm going to do my shopping. You know, yeah, it is really putting me into a bit of a stress mode, thinking, oh, I really don't want to do that, you know. So I'm going into not being enthusiastic and looking forward and really being, you know, being positive about it. I'm really now stepping back and saying, I really don't want to do this, because, yeah, it is a lot of work on the day. It is a lot of work on the day. So maybe I'll see how I go with this one. I've got quite a few ladies interested. No one has really bought tickets yet.
Yeah.
But I think the next one I'm going to negotiate with the restaurant and see if I can have it there.
Yeah, because I think because the model, the delivery of it is great, Devika. I think it's just the model, the prep and the post is not financially smart for you unless you had, because you said to me, you are capping it anywhere at 6 people, isn't it? Because it's 6 people at your dinner table. So you're capping it at 6 people, which means unless you increase the price of this Goddess Night to like 200 and something, you can't really see a bigger profit margin. Like you can't scale it, or you're going to do this Goddess Night 2-3 times in a month. But then again, you're back to that same cycle. So how can we pull you out of that cycle? And I personally think, from experience, I think the cycle is, if you do it at a restaurant, it wouldn't matter if you had 12 people once a month or you had 5 people, because the restaurant's doing the work. You are paying them, let's say $30 or $45 per head, and that's it. It doesn't matter. It's not, you know, you just, do you know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about the weather. You don't have to think about mopping. You just get ready, put your makeup on, you pick up your stuff and you go, you do what you do, and then you come home. So your financials are better. But yeah, it's something for you to reassess in the new financial year. You know, negotiate a few deals, see what you can do. And then if it's at a restaurant, you know, you can position it a little bit differently. And you could potentially ask the restaurant whether they would like to do a bit of a joint venture, whether you could promote this there, where you could have it, you know, at the counter, you know, something like that, where you can add value, like certain restaurants do it, like, you know, when they have things upcoming, functions, like 2 of the venues in Berwick, they promote upcoming events. And one of the restaurants I went to recently, they have done a cross promotion with a dating site. I can't remember what the dating site was, and they do singles night, like speed dating on a Tuesday night, because Tuesday night is the slowest night of the week for that restaurant. So for them, it was like a perfect mix, because everybody coming into that restaurant that 2 weeks before this singles event sees this all over the counter: single night Tuesday, you know, pay for your ticket, book your ticket at the cashier when you buy your drinks, kind of thing. And to that, those people, they're plugging this event, but also they're getting the tickets sold through this, which is great because the restaurant's making money. And to the people that are running that business, it's a really good joint venture. So it might be for you to think a little bit more strategically, where maybe could you use the Goddess Night on a night that is not so busy in the restaurant, as opposed to a Friday night.
Yes. Oh, yeah, no way on Friday and Saturday night, yeah. No, that's a good idea. I think I will seriously think about that, because it does make a lot of sense. If I have, you know, at home I'm limited to 6 to 8 ladies, but at the restaurant, I mean, I can have more ladies. And and then that way it'll be more profitable. And as you know, there's a back room, which I think it'll be better way to go. Okay, good.
Definitely.
Thanks.
Okay, that's all right. Em, did you have any questions, or Carolyn, did you have any questions before I wrap up now? All good. All right. So what I'm going to give you guys to think about is, I'm going to send you that Excel spreadsheet in the next hour. The 3 of you will get that in the next hour with in an email. So it will just come from my normal personal email to you. I would love for you to just go through the 3 examples that I've got on the Excel spreadsheet. As I said, it's just an Excel spreadsheet, just a formula where I have given you, if I was to make that much on that, how many would I need? This, how many would I need? How many? And then you would see which one is better for you to keep moving forward over the next 6 months. So then you can reassess and then go, actually, no, I'm going to scrap that. I'm not even going to worry about it because on the long term, it's not sustainable. So I'm going to send you that. Now, this is the end of the 14-day challenge. I'm going to keep the group open because I'm going to do this challenge again in July a little bit differently. I want to do it a little bit differently. It's still the Zoom calls and all of that. So I'm going to keep this group open, and I would love for you to keep me in the loop of how you're progressing. And as I said, I'm going to keep this open. So it's not actually going to get shut down even in December. But what I would do is my plan is for those of you on the call and that will be listening to this is every 3 months or so, where I'm going to maybe towards end of September, I'm going to do like a check-in to see, let's reflect on what it is that you guys have done since you started and where are you at, like what tweaking needs to happen, and then check in again in December. Would that be all right with you guys?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Samantha,
All right.
I have a question. So
Yes.
Quick question, Samantha.
Yep.
Last night at the network, one lady was saying it's very important that for business or anything like Facebook or Meetup to have our name linked to our business name.
Sorry, say that again.
She was saying that it's better to have our name attached to our business name. Like mine is Authentic Connection.
Yep.
And she was saying it's important, and I couldn't understand why and how. I mean, why I know, but how.
Yep.
To have my name linked with my business name. So when people are looking me up, remember way back you did say, if you Google, what comes up? What comes up? Does my Facebook come up? Does my Meetup come up? Does my videos come up? So I wasn't sure how they meant to do that.
Okay, so you can do that on your Facebook business page, Davika, where it could be Davika Khatri Authentic Connections, or you can do that in your group like that, where you can just change it. So if your Facebook page currently has less than 250 page likes, you can go in and tweak it. If you have more than 250 page likes, you need to lodge a request with Facebook, and they will consider that as a change. Now, given that you're currently using Authentic Connections and you've got this goddess thing happening, I think you need to reassess before you go and change it. And I think I'll talk to you outside of this space because just in context, I think if you're going to attach Davika Khatri to Authentic Connections, you don't mention that as much as you mention I'm your relationship goddess, if that makes sense. So I'm thinking if you're going to do a rebrand, then you might as well consider I suppose Authentic Connections could be the business name, but it trades as, something to do with the goddess, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's like my ABN is Samantha Jansen, and it trades as Platform for Success, and then the other one trades as Samantha Jansen Publishing. So it's done in a way that it all feeds in, but in terms of what I'm pitching, it's relevant to the context of that. So that might be something for you to consider.
Okay, all right. We'll talk about that later. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll talk to you outside of this call. All right, ladies, I'm going to leave you for now. As I said, I'd love to hear back once you complete the template. Let me know if you've got any questions, and then I will organize another Zoom call for some time in September to check in with each of you. But in the meantime, please stay interactive in the group. And as I said, I'm going to run the challenge again in July a little bit differently. So if you want to pop on, jump on, you're more than welcome to. This challenge will always remain free. It will never be a challenge that will be priced. So it's just one of those things that I'm going to do within the community. But also the next time I'm actually going to take it out to the public, so it won't be a part of the Business Talk Show. It will be just out in the public for anybody to come on board. So that being said, I'm going to leave you for now. Take care, have an awesome day, and I look forward to hearing from you very soon.
Thank you.
Bye.